Have you ever considered how your financial situation compares to that of others? It's possible you've examined your bank account balance and wondered, is this typical? Perhaps you've found yourself browsing social media, noticing peers your age with new cars, traveling, or purchasing homes, and wondering, what's their financial strategy for achieving this? Today, we will analyze the true financial figures that reflect the typical individual's situation. Some of these statistics may come as a surprise, while others might provide a sense of relief. However, there are those that could serve as a crucial wake-up call. Stay tuned until the conclusion, as by the end, you will have a clear understanding of how your financial circumstances measure up, and, crucially, the steps you can take to surpass the norm. Let's begin with the foundation: income. The most recent figures indicate that the average annual income for a full-time worker in the United States is approximately $52,000 prior to tax deductions. That seems reasonable, wouldn't you agree? However, it's important to consider that when you account for federal and state taxes, as well as Social Security and Medicare contributions, the net income will realistically fall within the range of $35,000 to $40,000. That is the reality that individuals are truly navigating. At this point, it's important to note that the typical household incurs annual expenses of approximately $67,000. If your income is $40,000 while your expenditures amount to $67,000, it's essential to evaluate how this financial situation is sustainable. The straightforward response is debt. When discussing debt, credit cards often represent a significant concern that cannot be overlooked. On average, households maintain credit card balances exceeding $9,000. Given that interest rates frequently range from 20% to 25%, that debt is not static, it is accumulating. With an interest rate of 20%, maintaining a balance of $9,000 incurs nearly $2,000 annually in interest expenses. That represents a significant loss of resources, accumulating month after month, year after year. It is concerning that a significant portion of this debt arises from non-essential circumstances rather than critical emergencies. Such expenses frequently arise from dining out, clothing, gadgets, and vacations, acquisitions that provide fleeting satisfaction but can result in enduring financial consequences. Subscribe to our channel and also press the like button to know more on finances. However, the circumstances extend beyond just debt. Let's discuss savings, or more accurately, the absence of it. The Federal Reserve reports that the median retirement savings for Americans stands at approximately $65,000. This figure represents the median, not the average, indicating that half of individuals fall below this amount. It's important to note that approximately 25% of adults have not set aside any savings for retirement. Nothing at all. For individuals who engage in saving, the figures remain concerning. At the time of retirement, the average savings amount to approximately $88,000. By adhering to the 4% withdrawal rule, your balance would yield under $300 per month in retirement income. Consider this: after years of dedicated work, you might find that your monthly income is insufficient to cover basic necessities like groceries, not to mention healthcare, housing, and other essential expenses. This is the reason many individuals intend to depend on Social Security. It's important to consider this. The typical monthly Social Security benefit amounts to only $1,550, translating to approximately $18,600 annually. If that constitutes your primary source of income during retirement, you may find yourself relying on a budget that barely covers essential living expenses. It's important to keep in mind that if you experienced years of lower earnings or inconsistent work, your benefits may be considerably reduced. Social Security was intended to serve as a supplementary source of income rather than a primary retirement strategy. However, for countless individuals, it remains their sole financial support. Let's connect this to our daily experiences. On average, households allocate $5,500 each month for their expenses. Housing represents the most significant expense at nearly $1,900, with food following at approximately $700 and transportation at $900. When you combine those three amounts, you're approaching $3,500 each month. This is before considering expenses such as childcare, healthcare, insurance, or student loans. It's important to keep in mind that the typical worker brings home approximately $40,000 annually. The financial calculations just don't add up, which is why numerous households find themselves in a perpetual state of stress regarding their finances. Now, let's take a broader perspective and examine net worth, which can be considered the most comprehensive indicator of financial well-being. The median net worth for households in the United States stands at approximately $122,000. At first glance, that may appear satisfactory, but a deeper analysis by age reveals a different perspective. Individuals below the age of 35 typically have a median net worth that falls below $14,000. As you reach your mid-40s, this figure typically increases to approximately $91,000. Individuals in their 50s should aim for approximately $168,000, while those nearing retirement should target around $266,000. It's important to understand that net worth encompasses all your assets: your home, vehicles, retirement accounts, and savings. After accounting for liabilities such as mortgages, car loans, credit card balances, and student loans, the overall figure can decrease significantly. While $122,000 may appear to be a solid income, the truth is that many families face greater financial challenges than this number implies. Additionally, we should consider the savings rate. On average, Americans allocate only 6% of their post-tax income towards savings. That amount is insufficient to adequately establish an emergency fund, much less address retirement savings, home ownership, or educational expenses. To provide some context, if your annual income is $60,000, your savings amount to just $3,600. It is advisable to set aside a minimum of 10% to 15% of your income specifically for retirement. If your goal is to retire early or achieve greater financial independence, consider saving even more. Given the current state of savings, it's understandable that many individuals are struggling to keep up. It's noteworthy to consider that the typical retirement age in America stands at 61. That appears to be a favorable option, wouldn't you agree? Planning for an early retirement. However, it's important to note that full Social Security benefits are not available until you reach the age of 67. Retirees are working to extend their savings for a duration of 6 years prior to becoming eligible for their complete benefits. With life expectancy extending into the mid-80s, you may need to plan for 20 to 25 years of retirement funding. Consider the scenario of dedicating 4 decades to your career, only to discover that your retirement savings amount to $88,000. Supplemented by a monthly Social Security benefit of $1,500. This is the situation faced by countless individuals. What insights can we derive from these figures? In straightforward terms, maintaining an average approach to finances is insufficient. Living at an average level often results in a cycle of paycheck dependency, accumulation of high-interest debt, insufficient savings, and a lack of preparation for retirement. However, the encouraging aspect is that the threshold for achieving above-average results is quite attainable. By saving over 6%, steering clear of credit card debt, and maintaining a consistent investment strategy, such as opting for low-cost index funds, you position yourself to surpass the financial progress of many individuals. Watch the video appearing on the left side to know the cash flow trick that can help you replace your paycheck. Also, subscribe to our channel to help us complete our goal of 10,500 subscribers.